All right, man. I was watching a video with Charleston White, and he was pretty much talking about the differences between like a Chicago and a Memphis, right? And basically what he was saying was, when it comes to Memphis is, I guess, because I guess he was asked the question, which one was worse, Chicago or Memphis, and he pretty much said that it was Memphis. And he was like, the difference between Memphis and Chicago is that Chicago is always talking about killing somebody, unaliving somebody, hurting somebody, doing damage, catching your ops. That's pretty much all the Chicago, scene really is about when it comes to especially hip hop or whatever like that, right? But when it comes to Memphis, it's way more dangerous because they don't have a lot of outlets. Like in Chicago, you got a lot of different things to do out there if you don't go to, certain neighborhoods, certain areas or whatever like that. There's a lot of things to do in Chicago. You have different suburbs, this is that and the third. A lot of high-end places you can go to, restaurants, tourist attractions, Taste of Chicago, things like that. But he said in Memphis, there's nothing. There's no skyscrapers. There's no beautiful things to go to and see. But not only do they get busy and will unalive you and all those things, but also they're hustling. They pimping, they hustling, they selling a lot of they have the lifestyle that they're presenting and putting out there is all about making that dollar, all about making those ends meet. You know what I'm saying? And hold on, so in Memphis it is very, very dangerous. But there's a lot of different elements that's going on through there at the same time. Chicago is a very, very dangerous place. I got family that's from Chicago, been through there and all that stuff. It is a very dangerous place. Unfortunately, it seems like a lot of people glorify all the things that happened out there. And it is a very, very tough environment to be in. But so is Memphis. I mean, a lot of things that you've been hearing about Memphis with the rappers and all that stuff as of late has been just horrific, The Gucci Man situation, the Young Dolph situation, you got your black youngsters and your Yo Gottis and things like that. It is it's sad to see. Because they saying, I think it was the basketball players talking about how, that basketball players that get robbed out there in Memphis, which is crazy. I don't even think I've ever heard that before of, a city getting busy with their own basketball players. Like, that's crazy to me. You know what I mean? But for some people, it just is what it is, man. And I think that, when we're a type of community or a culture who's always thinking about who's the baddest, who's the toughest, who did that, it's almost a badge of honor. It's like you're literally happy to say that, my city has a bunch of degenerates. You know what I mean? Like that's what we praise. That's what we're happy to see. That's what we're happy to say. You know what I mean? Like, oh man, they get busy over here. No, y'all don't understand how we get busy. We really destroy them out here. It's just like, I've never understood that, man. Because if you ever think about it, have you ever heard a conversation of somebody saying, yo, where you from? And they'd be like, yo, I'm from Chicago. And they'll be like, it get down out there. You know how we get down. He like, nah, bro. I'm from Memphis. We really get busy out there. This is like, it's a competition to see which one is a more terrible place to live. Which one has a more grotesque circumstance than the other. And that's just how it is. Because I guarantee you, from the start of this video, you probably was like, nah, Chicago worse. Or nah, Memphis is worse. Or nah, LA is real bad. It's like, bro, is that really something to be proud of? That sounds like that's something to really be ashamed of. But our mentalities, not a lot of these people mentalities that look like us have this mentality of, mediocrity. They don't want it to be better. They want it to be gang. They want it to be about that life. The struggle. you know, the streets. And it's like anytime that you come up, they want to tear you down even more. They don't want to see you do good. They don't care about what you got going on. And they'll get you up out of the way, your family up out of the way, your friends up out of the way. Some of them even buck on law enforcement. It's like, what do you do with people like this? Where do we go from here? You know, it is a very, very, very sad situation when you have the NBA saying like, bro, we don't even want to step foot. We don't even like it when we go to Memphis. It's like, what? Why? Because just look at the environment. Look at the conditions, you know? And not only the condition, because see, a lot of times we blame things on the conditions, which it can have its faults here and there. But also, with that being said, it's the mindset of the people too, man. You know, because I've been to some places where people were pretty poor, even more poorer than Memphis, and they're not doing the, you know, the criminology that they're doing in Memphis or in Chicago or whatever. The people's mindset is completely different, far removed from that of robbing, hurting, stealing, killing, and this, that, and the third. So I don't know. I don't know how we could ever bounce back. You know, some people say we're cursed, that it'll always be like that, but I'm not really sure. I don't really know what to make of that. You know, all I know is that a lot of people are very, very happy to be boisterous about how hood their neighborhood is, and you know, how hood their city is, and they want to stand on that and represent that because they really don't have anything else to stand on. And instead of trying to figure out something positive to stand on, they rather promote, you know, this. So I don't know, man. Y'all tell me what y'all think in the comments when it comes to this whole, you know, who's tougher, Memphis or Chicago, and you know, is this something to really be proud of? And if you really are proud of your city like that, and you happy to say how many bodies y'all get, and you know how tough it is, and if you really are, you know, proud of that, put it in the comments. You know, I really want to hear your viewpoints and stuff. And if I see a comment that's good enough and it's up to par, I will make a video on that comment. So y'all tell me what y'all think. If y'all like this artwork, by the way, I'm an artist. I just got pretty much done with this picture. I do digital art and things like that. Have all types of drawings and things that I do. So if you ever want to support some artwork or whatever, you know, you want to get some posters or something like that, hit the link in my description. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff, man. This is another way that I can make money off my channel without necessarily having hundreds of thousands of views. So I greatly appreciate y'all, man. I'll talk to y'all later. Be safe. Peace.